High Counselor Taejin stared out the window of his office at the spinning stars. His three-fingered hand rested on a stack of old papers. Real papers. Not digital files or brain prints like most council records. These were special papers, kept locked away for over 300 years. "Enter," he said when he heard the soft chime at his door. Ambassador June walked in, his human frame looking small next to the door designed for much taller species. He wore the blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps with a small pin showing Earth and its single moon. "Thank you for seeing me, High Counselor," June said, bowing slightly. Taejin motioned for June to sit in the chair across from his desk. The chair adjusted itself to better fit human shape. "Your petition is the 7th in 20 years, Taejin said. "Humans keep asking to join our military forces. The answer has always been no." June leaned forward. "But no one remembers why. The ban was put in place 3 centuries ago. Earth is part of the Council in all other ways. We trade, we share science, we help build stations and colonies. But when there is fighting, we must stay home." He tapped the desk with his finger. "My people want to help protect the galaxy too." Taejin's skin rippled with blue spots, a sign of deep thinking among his kind. "The old law says humans cannot fight in space battles. The reasons were sealed by the council that made the rule." He touched the papers on his desk. "I have decided to find out why." June's eyes widened. "You will look into this?" "Yes. If the reason is no longer important, perhaps the rule can change." Taejin pressed a button on his desk. "I have called for help." The door opened again. 3 beings entered the room. "This is Counselor Sumi," Taejin said, pointing to a tall female with skin that shimmered like metal. "She knows all the old laws." Sumi nodded at June. "I have studied the Treaty of Proxima Centauri. It has strange gaps." "Admiral Doyun," Taejin continued, introducing a stocky being with 4 arms. Each arm had its own control pad strapped to it. "He has fought in 17 space wars." The Admiral made a gesture that military people across the galaxy would recognize as a salute. "And historian Jiho," Taejin finished. A small, floating creature with large eyes hovered near the ceiling. It had no mouth, but its thoughts came clearly into everyone's minds. "I study species who are new to space travel," Jiho's thoughts said. "Humans are most interesting." June stood up straight. "I am honored to meet you all." He looked back at Taejin. "Will you share what you find?" "If possible," Taejin said. "Return to Earth. We will call when we know more." After June left, the 4 council members gathered around the stack of papers. "What do we know?" asked Sumi. Taejin spread the papers on the table. "Only that something called the Sol incident happened. All council members at that time voted to keep humans out of space battles. Sol is the name of Earth's star," said Doyun. "The ban happened right after humans joined the Galactic community." "Were humans attacked?" Jiho wondered. "Did they start a war?" "No records show any battles with humans," Sumi said. "This is what makes no sense." Taejin picked up the oldest paper. "There is one note here. It says, 'See Earth military records.' But we cannot ask humans to search their own files. If they knew why they were banned, they might hide it." "We need someone on Earth we can trust," said Doyun. "Someone who will not hide the truth, even if it makes humans look bad." "I have studied Earth's military leaders," Jiho thought to them. "Some families have served for many generations. The oldest families might have private records passed down." "Good thinking," said Taejin. "Find the oldest military family on Earth." 1 week later, the 4 council members stood in a small office in a place called West Point on Earth. The walls were covered with pictures of humans in different uniforms through the ages. Across from them sat General Han, an old human with white hair and dark eyes. His uniform had many colorful strips that showed his high rank. "I got your message," General Han said. "You want to know about the Sol incident?" "You know of it?" Sumi asked, surprised. The old general nodded. "My great-grandfather left a sealed. Every leader in my family is told the same thing. If the council ever asks about the Sol incident, give them the box." Han reached into his desk and pulled out a small metal container. It looked very old. "For 300 years my family has kept this secret," he said. "I never thought I would be the one to share it." He placed his hand on the box, and it clicked open. Inside was a small device and a handwritten journal. "This is my great-grandfather's story of what happened," Han said. "And that device has coordinates to an old watching station. The real records are there." Duyun took the device and studied it. "This is very old tech. It might not even work anymore." "We should read the journal first," Jiho suggested. Tae-jin carefully opened the journal. The pages were yellow with age. The writing was in an old Earth language, but their translator devices changed it to modern Galactic standard. "This is the private journal of Commander Han Min-soo," Tae-jin read out loud. "I write this so the truth will not be lost. What happened was not planned. We did not mean to scare the galaxy." The council members looked at each other in surprise. "Humans scared the galaxy?" Sumi whispered. Tae-jin continued reading. "Earth had just joined the Galactic Council. To welcome us, they invited a small group of our soldiers to join a military exercise. It was supposed to be a friendly test of skills against computer enemies. 7 other species were there too." "I remember reading about welcome exercises," said Do-yun. "They stopped doing them over 200 years ago." "Listen to this," Tae-jin said, reading more from the journal. "The Marui and Vesh were the strongest teams there. They had been enemies for years but agreed to be peaceful for the exercise. No one expected trouble. No one expected what humans would do." The journal ended with coordinates and a warning. "The watching station recorded everything. If you see those recordings, you will understand why we are banned from fighting in space, and why that ban should stay." Sumi looked troubled. "What could humans have done that was so bad? Their weapons were simple when they first joined the council." "The journal does not say what happened." Tae-jin closed the old book carefully, but it says the Marui and Vesh were there. Those species went extinct long ago. "We must find this watching station," Jiho thought. "We must see what happened." Do-yun connected the old device to his modern equipment. "The coordinates are in a neutral area between what used to be Marui and Vesh space. About 3 days' travel from here." Tae-jin stood up. "General Han, thank you for keeping this record safe. We will find the truth." The old general nodded slowly. "My great-grandfather wrote that humans must remember but never speak of it. The ban protects the galaxy from us, not the other way around." As they left Earth, the 4 council members were quiet, each wondering what terrible thing humans had done. What could make an entire species banned from space battles? And should that ban ever be lifted? The stars streaked by as their ship moved, faster than light, carrying them toward answers hidden for 300 years. The ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a small shudder. In front of them, through the main window, floated a small metal station. It was round, like a ball with many flat sides. Solar panels stuck out in all directions, most of them broken or bent. No lights showed on its surface. "It looks dead," said Sumi. "No power for centuries." Admiral Do-yun checked his screens. "The air inside is still good. The station had backup systems that kept it from breaking down completely." Tae-jin looked at the old station. "This is where we will find our answers." Their ship moved closer. A docking tube extended from their ship to the station. With a soft clank, the two connected. "We should be careful," said Do-yun. "We don't know what's waiting for us." "The station is safe," Jiho's thoughts told them. It was only meant to watch and record, not to fight. The 4 council members moved through the docking tube into the station. The inside was dark. Their lights showed dusty halls and empty rooms. "This way," Do-yun said, looking at his map. "The main control room should be in the center." They walked through the empty station. Their footsteps echoed in the silent halls. After a few minutes, they reached a round room with a large table in the middle. Around the walls were screens, all dark and dead. "This is it," said Tae-jin. "The station's brain." Do-yun went to a control panel and connected his equipment to it. "I'll try to wake it up. The power cells might still work." While Doyun worked, the others looked around the room. Sumi found old papers with writing on them. These are notes about the exercise. 8 species took part. Humans were the newest to space travel. Look at this, Jiho thought to them. The historian had found a small container with badges inside. Each badge had a different symbol. These are the team markers, one for each species. Got it, Doyun said. The room hummed as old systems came back to life. The screens on the walls flickered and turned on. The main computer still works. I've found the recordings. Tae-jin stood in front of the biggest screen. Show us what happened. The screen filled with an image of space. In the distance, they could see 8 different groups of ships. Each group had its own area. Some ships were big and smooth. Others were small and fast-looking. One group had ships covered in what looked like plants or vines. These are the 8 teams, said Sumi. Which ones are human? Doyun pointed to a group of ships that looked plain and simple compared to the others. Those must be Earth ships. This was 300 years ago. Their space tech was very basic. The recording continued. A voice spoke, explaining the rules of the exercise. Each team would face fake enemies controlled by computers. They would be scored on how well they did. The teams could work together or alone. It seems simple, said Tae-jin. A test of skills, not real fighting. The exercise began. At first, everything looked normal. The human ships moved slowly and had trouble hitting their targets. The other teams did much better, especially 2 groups that Doyun identified as the Marui and Vesh. The Marui ships are the silver ones, he said. They were known for their technology. The Vesh are the ones with the plant-covered ships. They used living systems in their machines. They watched as the human ships took heavy damage in the first hour of the exercise. 3 of their ships were marked as destroyed by the computer enemies. They're losing badly, said Sumi. I don't understand what went wrong. Then they saw something change. The human ships started moving differently. They broke into smaller groups and began using the space debris as cover. They're adapting, thought Jiho. Watch how they learn from each hit. A human voice came through the recording. This is Commander Yoon of Earth Force. All ships implement Battle Plan Delta. The human ships suddenly changed their pattern. They stopped trying to destroy the computer enemies. Instead, they started studying the other teams. What are they doing? Asked Sumi. The recording showed human ships moving closer to the Marui fleet, watching how their weapons worked. Then they retreated and made changes to their own weapons. They're copying the Marui technology, said Doyun, his voice showing surprise. In the middle of the exercise. Hours passed in the recording. The human ships were now fighting better. They had taken ideas from each of the other teams and made them work with their own systems. Then something unexpected happened. A small human ship sent messages to 3 of the other teams. Soon those teams began working with the humans, sharing tactics and protecting each other. They made allies, said Tae-jin. In a simple exercise? Sumi shook her head. Why would they need allies against fake enemies? The answer came soon. The human commander's voice spoke again. All Earth ships and allies, prepare for Operation Desperate Measures. What they saw next made them all go quiet. A human ship allowed itself to be captured by the Marui team. When the Marui brought the ship into their docking bay, something was released into their air systems. What was that? Asked Tae-jin. Doyun, check the station records. Some kind of virus or bacteria. It didn't hurt humans but made the Marui very sick. They used biological weapons in a friendly exercise? Jiho's thoughts were shocked. The recording continued. While the Marui were dealing with the sickness, human teams had snuck aboard and were studying their main ships. They took control of some Marui weapons and turned them against the Vesh ships. This isn't an exercise anymore, said Sumi. They turned it into a real battle. They watched as the human team sacrificed one of their big ships to create a bright explosion. The flash blinded the sensors of the other teams. When the light cleared, the humans had taken over the main exercise control station. They hacked the system, said Doyun. They turned off the safety controls. The recording showed a human woman in formal clothes trying to talk to Commander Yoon. The woman was identified as Ambassador Min-ji. "Stop this immediately," she said to Yoon. "This is a peaceful exercise." The commander replied, "In a real fight there are no rules. We must show what humans can really do." The last part of the recording showed pure chaos. The Marui ships were disabled. The Vesh tried to help them but were attacked by ships from 2 other species now working with the humans. The exercise area, which was supposed to be contained, had expanded as ships chased each other through nearby space. The final image was of Commander Yoon standing on the bridge of a captured Marui ship, using their weapons to disable the last Vesh defenders. The screen went black. The 4 council members stood in silence. "Now we know," Taijin said quietly. "Humans don't see war the same way we do." "They treated a simple exercise as if their survival depended on it," said Sumi. "They used every trick, broke every rule. And the Marui and Vesh?" asked Taijin. "Did this lead to their extinction?" Do-yoon checked more records. "No, not directly, but it began a conflict between them that lasted for decades. They never trusted each other again after the humans turned them against each other." The council must have seen all this, thought Jiho. They realized how dangerous humans could be in real warfare. "We have our answer," said Taejin. The ban was not a punishment. It was protection for the rest of the galaxy. They gathered their evidence and prepared to return to the council chambers. The question now was, what would they tell Ambassador June? The journey back to the council chambers was quiet. Each member was lost in their own thoughts about what they had seen. The recording from the station had shown them much, but not everything. "We need to know more," Taejin said as their ship entered the final jump to the council homeworld. "What happened after the exercise? How did the council decide on the ban?" "The station had more records," Do-yoon said. "I copied them all." He held up a small data cube. "This has everything." When they arrived, they went straight to Taijin's private meeting room. No one else was allowed in. The walls were set to block all signals. Whatever they learned would stay secret until they decided what to do. Do-yoon connected the data cube to the room's system. "There are many files here. Let's start with what happened right after the exercise ended." The screen lit up with a new recording. It showed a large room filled with angry representatives from different species. In the center stood Commander Yoon and Ambassador Min-ji from Earth. Yoon looked proud. Min-ji looked horrified. "You turned a friendly exercise into real combat," shouted a Marui leader. His silver skin had dark spots, signs of the sickness the humans had spread. "3 of my crew are dead." "We showed our true abilities," Yoon said calmly. "In real war, you use every advantage." "This wasn't real war," a Vesh representative said. Vines around her neck pulsed with angry colors. "It was supposed to be a welcome ceremony." The recording showed Ambassador Min-ji step forward. "On behalf of Earth, I offer our deepest apologies. Commander Yoon and his team will be punished for breaking the rules." But Yoon didn't look sorry. "We followed our orders. Show what humans can do in battle. We did that." The council leader at that time, a tall blue being, called for quiet. "We must understand what happened. Why did Earth forces act this way?" The recording shifted to a different meeting. This one had fewer people. Experts from various species sat around a table with humans who were not soldiers. A human scientist was speaking. "You have to understand Earth's history. For most of our time, we fought each other. Our wars were always total. You fight until the enemy gives up completely or is destroyed." "But this was an exercise," someone said. "Not real." "To our military, that distinction isn't clear," the scientist explained. "They train as they fight. They fight to win no matter what." Another human, older with white hair, added, "Our evolution shaped us differently. Many species evolved from group hunters or peaceful plant eaters. Humans started as prey, then became predators. We keep both instincts. We feel threatened easily. And when threatened, we attack with everything we have." The recording continued with more discussions. Experts talked about human psychology, history, and biology. They showed examples of Earth wars, where humans used every possible trick to win. Do-Yun paused the recording. These meetings went on for weeks. The council was trying to understand humans before making a decision. "Play the final meeting," Tae-jin said. When they decided on the ban, the screen showed a formal council chamber. Representatives from over 30 species were present. The Earth delegation sat in a special area, looking nervous. The council leader spoke. "After much study, we have reached a conclusion about the Sol incident. Humans approach warfare in a way that is dangerous to galactic peace." The leader listed what the human military had done in the exercise. First, they had brought hidden weapons and tools not allowed in the rules. Second, they had used biological attacks that caused real harm. Third, they had turned other teams against each other, creating real conflicts. Fourth, they had sacrificed their own people as part of their strategy. Fifth, they had hacked safety systems, putting everyone in danger. A human representative tried to speak. "These actions do not represent all of humanity. Our military made mistakes." The council leader raised a hand to stop him. "We have studied your history. These are not mistakes. This is how humans have always fought. You do not see war as we do. For most species, war is the last option, used with strict rules. For humans, war means using every possible advantage, breaking every rule." The room was silent as the leader continued. "We welcome humans to the galactic community. Your creativity, your art, your science, these are valuable. But your approach to warfare is too dangerous for our peaceful galaxy." Then came the vote. One by one, each species voted. The decision was clear. Humans would be banned from all military actions beyond their own solar system. The recording ended with Ambassador Minji accepting the decision. "We understand your fears. Earth will respect this ban." The four council members sat in silence after the last recording finished. "Now we know the whole story," Sumi said. "The ban wasn't punishment, it was protection. Protection for the galaxy from humans," Do-Yun added, "but also protection for humans from themselves. In a real space war, they might do even worse things." "I have a question," Jiho thought to them. "Did humans ever break the ban in 300 years?" Do-Yun checked more files. "No, they followed it perfectly. Earth created a special department to make sure no human military ever left their system." Tae-jin stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the lights of the council city shined. In the night, somewhere out there, Ambassador Jun was waiting for their decision. "We need to decide what to tell him," Tae-jin said. "Do we show him these recordings? Do we keep the ban? Or has humanity changed enough in 3 centuries to trust them again?" Sumi looked thoughtful. "Humans have been good members of the council. In all other ways, they trade fairly. They share knowledge, they help with rescue missions, but they have never been tested in real conflict. I've studied their military history since the ban," said Do-Yun. "They still train as if every fight is for survival. Their war games are incredibly intense." "Perhaps we should not ask if humans have changed," Jiho thought. "Perhaps we should ask if we can use their unique abilities in a safe way." The others looked at the historian with surprise. "Other species fear how humans fight," Jiho continued. "But what if that fear itself is useful? What if human thinking about war could help us without humans actually fighting?" Tae-jin nodded slowly. "You suggest we find a middle path. Not full military participation, but not complete exclusion either." "We need to speak with Ambassador Jun," Sumi said. "But first we should prepare our recommendation for the full council." As they began to write their report, each member thought about what they had learned. Humans were different from any other species in how they approached conflict. That difference had scared the galaxy once. The question now was whether that same difference might actually help protect the galaxy, if used properly. Outside, the stars continued to shine on thousands of peaceful worlds, unaware that their future safety might soon depend on the most dangerous military minds in the galaxy, the humans of Earth. 3 days after watching the recordings, the council members met in the Grand Chamber. All 57 current species of the Galactic Council had representatives there. The room buzzed with curious whispers. Everyone had heard that High Counselor, Taejin, was going to speak about the human band. Taejin, Sumi, Doyun, and Jiho sat at a special table in front. Ambassador Jun sat alone at a small table to the side. He looked nervous but hopeful. Taejin stood and raised his hands for quiet. The room fell silent. For 300 years, he began, humans have been banned from all military actions outside their solar system. For most of that time, no one remembered why. The records were sealed. The species who made that decision are mostly gone now. He looked around the room. We have found those records. We have seen what happened. And now we must decide if the old ban should stay or go. A soft murmur ran through the crowd. Taejin motioned to Doyun, who stood up next. I will show you a short version of what we found, the Admiral said. Be warned. What you will see may disturb you. The lights dimmed. On the big screen, a carefully edited version of the recordings played. It showed enough for everyone to understand what had happened in the exercise, but not the most shocking parts. When the lights came back up, the room stayed quiet for a long moment. Then everyone started talking at once. They turned a game into real war. How could they think that was acceptable? No wonder they were banned. Taejin called for order. When the room was quiet again, he spoke. This happened 300 years ago. The question is, have humans changed since then? Ambassador Jun stood up. His face was pale. He had just learned the truth about his own people's past. High Counselor, may I speak? He asked. Taejin nodded. Please do. Jun walked to the center of the room. I did not know about this. None of us did. The truth was kept from us. He took a deep breath. But I cannot deny what I just saw. My ancestors treated a simple exercise as if it were a fight for survival. He looked around at the faces of many different species. I want to say we have changed, but I must be honest. Our military still trains this way. We still see conflict as something you either win completely or lose completely. The room was so quiet now that everyone could hear the soft hum of the air systems. However, Jun continued, we have lived peacefully among you for 3 centuries. We have followed your rules. We have learned your ways. He straightened his shoulders. We can control our nature, even if we cannot change it. Sumi stood next. The committee has discussed this matter deeply. We believe the original ban was correct. Humans do approach warfare in a way that is dangerous to galactic peace. Many representatives nodded in agreement. Ambassador Jun's shoulders dropped. However, Sumi continued, we also believe there may be a middle path. Now everyone looked confused. What middle path could there be? Jiho floated up, thoughts projecting to all. The galaxy faces many dangers. Pirates attack our trade ships. Strange beings from deep space sometimes threaten our worlds. Our military forces are good, but they think in expected ways. The historian paused, letting everyone consider this. Humans think differently. They see angles others miss. They find weaknesses others don't notice. This can be dangerous if they are enemies, but valuable if they are teachers. Doyun stepped forward. We propose a new solution, the ban on human military forces remains. But we create a new galactic war college, where human teachers can train officers from other species. Taejin added, humans would not fight our battles, but they would help us think about fighting in new ways. They would help us prepare for threats we cannot yet imagine. The chamber erupted in discussion. Some representatives looked worried. Others seemed interested. Taejin let them talk for a while before calling for quiet again. This is not a small change, he said. We should think carefully before voting. A tall representative from a species with 4 arms stood up. I have a question for the human. If we allow this war college, can you promise that humans will not use it to learn our weaknesses? To prepare for some future conflict against us? Jun thought before answering. I cannot promise what every human will think or plan, but I can tell you this. Earth needs the galaxy. We need your trade, your knowledge, your friendship. War with you would destroy everything we have built together. He looked at the recordings that had just played. What you saw there, That is how we fight when we are afraid. When we think we must win or die, we are not afraid of you. We have no reason to fight you. The council talked for hours. They asked many questions. They debated the risks and benefits. Finally, Tai-Jin called for a vote. One by one, each species voted. Some voted to keep the ban exactly as it was. Some voted for the new plan. In the end, the vote was close, but the new plan won. Tai-Jin announced the result. The ban on human military forces in space will remain, but we will create the Galactic War College, where human teachers can share their unique perspective on strategy and tactics. He turned to June. Your people will not fight our battles, but they will help us prepare for them. Is this acceptable to Earth? June bowed deeply. It is more than we hoped for. Thank you. Later, in a private room, the 4 council members spoke with June. There is one more thing, said Tai-Jin. We need someone to lead this new college, someone who understands both human military thinking and the need for peace. I know the perfect person, June said. Professor Jin at our military academy. He is Commander Yoon's great-grandson. The council members looked surprised. June smiled. Yes, the same Commander Yoon from the recordings. His family has carried the secret shame of what happened. Jin has spent his life studying how to use human military thinking for defense, never for attack. 1 month later, Professor Jin stood in the new Galactic War College. Students from 20 different species sat before him, each wearing their world's military uniform. Welcome, Jin said. You are here to learn how humans think about war, not so you can fight like us, but so you can understand all the ways an enemy might fight against you. He looked at their faces, some with scales, some with fur, some with features he had no words for, all of them watching him with a mixture of fear and curiosity. The first lesson is the hardest, Jin said. For humans, there is no such thing as a fair fight. There is only winning or losing. This is our greatest strength and our greatest danger. As he began to teach, Jin thought about his great-grandfather and the ban that had protected the galaxy from human warfare for 3 centuries. That ban would continue. But now, human thinking would help protect peace, not threaten it. Sometimes, Jin thought, the most dangerous weapon is best kept in its sheath, but it's still good to know it's there.